There are many people and forces in our society who are opposed to Jesus. Many scientists reject the supernatural and mock those who believe in God. The arts community promotes and celebrates values that are contrary to biblical values. Many times Christians hold back and try to avoid direct confrontation with the enemies of Christ. The 19th chapter of Luke tells us about Jesus' journey to Jerusalem. Jesus knew that death awaited him, but we will see that Jesus did not walk apprehensively toward Jerusalem. He did not try to sneak in. Instead, he went boldly and purposefully. We should consider his example when we ponder how to deal with the opposition to Jesus we encounter in our lives. As Jesus approached Jericho, he passed by a blind beggar. The blind man asked Jesus to heal him. Jesus did so. Then, as Jesus was passing through Jericho, he encountered a chief tax collector named Zacchaeus. Jesus went to Zacchaeus' house, which caused some to grumble, but Zacchaeus repented of his dishonesty and promised to repay his victims. Jesus declared that salvation came to the house of Zacchaeus. Now let's pick up reading Luke 19 at verse 11. Now while they were listening to these things, Jesus went on to tell a parable because he was near Jerusalem, and they thought that the kingdom of God was going to appear immediately. Notice the pronoun they. Luke did not make it clear who was included in they. The disciples would have been there. The pronoun they probably includes a large crowd that had gathered to see Jesus pass through. The last phrase of this verse tells us why Jesus told the parable he was about to tell. Many people thought the kingdom of God was going to appear immediately. We can assume the point of the parable was to indicate the kingdom was not imminent. Verse 12. So he said, a nobleman went to a distant country to receive a kingdom for himself and then return. The nobleman represents Jesus. After his resurrection, Jesus went back to heaven to receive his kingdom with the intent to return to earth someday. Verse 13. And he called 10 of his slaves and gave them 10 minas and said to them, engage in business until I come back. The slaves represent the apostles of Jesus and all Christians. The minas represent the talents and abilities God gave each person. Verse 14. But his citizens hated him and sent a delegation after him, saying, we do not want this man to reign over us. The citizens represent the Jewish people who rejected Jesus. Verse 15. And it happened that when he returned, after receiving the kingdom, he ordered that these slaves, to whom he had given the money, be called to him so that he might know how much they had made in business. The return of the nobleman represents the time Jesus will come back to earth sometime in the future. At that time, each Christian will give an account of what we did with the talents God gave us. Verse 16. So the first appeared, saying, Master, your mina has made 10 minas more. And he said to him, well done, good slave, because you have been faithful in a very little thing, you are to be in authority over 10 cities. Then the second came, saying, your mina, master, has made 5 minas. And he said to him also, and you are to be over 5 cities. Just as the nobleman was pleased with the slaves who multiplied his possession, so too Jesus will be pleased with Christians who make good use of our talents and abilities. Verse 20. Then another came, saying, Master, here is your mina, which I kept put away in a cloth. For I was afraid of you, because you are a strict man. You take up what you did not lay down and reap what you did not sow. This slave represents a Christian who does not use his ability to serve Jesus. Verse 22. He said to him, from your own mouth I will judge you, you worthless slave. Did you know that I am a strict man, taking up what I did not lay down and reaping what I did not sow? Now why did you not put my money in the bank, and having come, I would have collected it with interest? Just as the nobleman was not pleased with this slave, so too Jesus will not be pleased with any Christian who fails to utilize his talents. Verse 24. Then he said to the bystanders, take the mina away from him and give it to the one who has the 10 minas. And they said to him, Master, he has 10 minas already. I tell you that to everyone who has, more shall be given, but from the one who does not have, even what he does have shall be taken away. But these enemies of mine, who did not want me to reign over them, bring them here and slay them in my presence. There are many who do not want Jesus to reign over them. Eventually, they will be punished. Many people around Jesus thought the kingdom of God was imminent. Jesus told this parable to teach it was not imminent. More importantly, he taught what Christians should do while waiting for the kingdom. We need to use our abilities to serve Him. It is easy to become complacent and fall into the mindset of thinking that since we have salvation, we can just relax because we are assured that we will go to heaven. However, Jesus made it clear in this parable that there will be negative consequences for any Christian who does not proactively serve Him. Verse 28. And after He had said these things, He was going on ahead up to Jerusalem. This verse tells us Jesus was ahead as they walked from Jericho up to Jerusalem. On this map, the dark greens represent the lowest elevations, while the browns represent the highest elevations. Jericho is 700 feet, or 200 meters below sea level, while Jerusalem is 2,300 feet, or 700 meters above sea level. That is a difference of 3,000 feet, or 900 meters. That is the height of the Appalachian Mountains. Not only was this an uphill climb, Jesus knew He was going to be abused and crucified in Jerusalem. However, Jesus did not hold back. He did not face His destiny with reservation. He led the way. He walked boldly to Jerusalem. There are many people and forces in our society who are opposed to Jesus. Sometimes Christians hold back and try to avoid direct confrontation with the enemies of Christ. However, perhaps we should boldly face the enemies of Christ just as Jesus did. Verse 29. And it happened that when He approached Bethphage and Bethany, near the mount called of Olives, He sent 2 of the disciples. It was only about 1.5 miles or 2.5 kilometers from Bethany to Jerusalem. At this point, Jesus was very close to Jerusalem. Verse 30. Saying, Go into the village ahead of you, in which, as you enter, you will find a colt tied, on which no one yet has ever sat. Untie it and bring it here. This verse tells us no one had ever sat on this donkey before. Verse 31. And if anyone asks you, Why are you untying it? You shall say this, Because the Lord has need of it. So when those who were sent departed, they found it just as He had told them. And as they were untying the colt, its owner said to them, Why are you untying the colt? And they said, The Lord has need of it. And they brought it to Jesus, and after they threw their garments on the colt, they put Jesus on it. Verse 30 tells us that no one had ever sat on the donkey before. Normally, a horse or donkey will resist being ridden the first time someone gets on its back. I assume in this case, Jesus used His miraculous powers to calm the donkey. Verse 36. And as He was going, they were spreading their garments on the road. Jesus faced opposition in His ministry. When He went to Jerusalem, He knew He would be persecuted and crucified. However, He did not walk to Jerusalem apprehensively, He went boldly. Today there are many who are opposed to Christ. For the most part, academics and scientists deny the existence of God. The forces against Jesus can be very strong and deadly. What are some ways we can and should imitate Jesus by being bold about our beliefs? Thanks for visiting Bible Mountain. If you have already joined my email list, thank you, and please tell others about Bible Mountain. If you have not joined my email list yet, please do so now. In order to join, go to BibleMountain.com, click on subscribe, and that will take you to a page where you can sign up. Your email address will not be sold nor given away. Once again, thanks for visiting Bible Mountain.